Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Hope you're fit and well. Fresh back from 3 days in the company of those very fine folks at Volvo Construction Equipment. I'll come to the voice in just a second. I saw a first of its kind electric wheel loader, met some fantastic people, had some great conversations, and saw some truly spectacular motorsport. And it takes a lot for me to say that because motorsport is not really my thing. I'm going to be bringing you all of that just as soon as I've had a chance to piece it all together. Unfortunately, as you can probably tell, all of that came at a price. After 4 a.m. starts and being locked in a metal tube with a few hundred sickly people for the journey to and from Hamburg, I now find myself with a very wheezy cough. I'll try to keep it at bay during today's show. I just hope it's gone before Wednesday evening because that's when we're going to be hosting our big Kinshoffer giveaway show. Later today, I'm going to be boxing up goodies for the 3 main prizes, so make sure you tune in on Wednesday night for your chance to win. Speaking of winners, massive commiserations to England's Lionesses who lost to Spain in the World Cup final yesterday. I got home just in time to see it. They lost to the better team on the day, I have to say, but they have clearly inspired more young women to join the sport, and they did the nation and themselves proud. However, while the ladies of football fell at the last, the men of West Ham went one better, picking up 3 points against London rivals Chelsea. Endless cash and a squad so large it travels in about 10 coaches. And West Ham turned them over 3-1. Happy days. Now, without further ado, let me roll the intro, post the question of the day, and get this show on the road. There we go. It is Monday, the 21st of August. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, we're scrapping with Kobelco. Bobcat helps us choose the right mini excavator. Caterpillar is on thin ice. Plus, Parks and Recreation with Volvo. And we're going to get to all of that in just a second. But first, let's peer back through the mist of time to see what was happening on this day in history. On this day in 1842, the city of Hobart, Tasmania, was founded. In 1888, William Seward Burroughs patented his adding machine, forerunner to the pocket calculator. In 1942, the Walt Disney movie Barbie was released, upsetting children up and down the land, I would imagine. In 1961, country singer Patsy Cline recorded the song Crazy. It was written by an unknown musician, Willie Nelson. Yeah, 1961. He's as old as time. In 1969, the first ever Gap store opened its doors. And in 1989, the Voyager 2 spacecraft began a flyby of the planet Neptune and didn't crash into the moon. Russian technology. Don't you just love it? Now, before we get into the real meat of the show, let me remind you of the question of the day. Yeah, having been on a few planes recently, I've been inspired. So, given a choice, would you prefer an aisle seat or a window seat? Or are you a lunatic and would prefer a middle seat? Personally, I am window all the way. Unless I'm on a long-haul flight, I know I can manage my bladder to cause minimum disruption to those sat beside me. But what about you? Do you like the view out the window, or are you watching the aisle for the arrival of your tiny bottle of complimentary water? Let me know in the chat. We'll get back to that at the end of the show. We're going to start today with Volvo Construction Equipment, and we're going to do so for 2 reasons. Firstly, I've just spent the whole weekend with the Volvo team, and they were great hosts, as they always are. Secondly, the film I'm about to play you features electric machines. And again, I've just spent some time with Volvo electric machines and Volvo electric cars as well. But there is a third reason, and I'll tell you about that after the film.
As much time as I've spent in this machine, I think it's fantastic. As far as operating, you really can't tell the difference aside for the fact that there's no noise.
The area of Prince George's County that we maintain and take care of, it covers 28,000 acres, 400 parks. Our division goes countywide, taking care of many maintenance tasks from heavy equipment to trade shops and aquatics facility maintenance. I first heard about the Volvo L25 rubber tire loader. I was very interested in what this machine offered as we were looking to become more sustainable and move towards electric equipment. We are 100% supported by solar power. The new Volvo electric equipment fits into our sustainability plans and efforts moving forward, as it allows us the opportunity to try the equipment at a smaller scale before moving up to the larger equipment as it becomes available. The department recently adopted a new sustainability action plan. This action plan basically has provided us with a 5-year roadmap of ways that we can move forward in reducing our carbon footprint and our greenhouse gas emissions.
The number one concern with everybody, I think, not just operators, is charge time, operation time. And that was a big question for me too. But when that machine's not running, it's not using energy. We haven't had any issues with running out of a charge during the day. At first, there was some pushback. It's different, it's new. You know, it doesn't make noise. You get the same reaction, you get the same work done.
Fortunately, when researching the equipment, it was nice to find the L25 and ECR25 on Sourcewell available for our purchasing needs.
Buying through Sourcewell really expedites the entire process from start to finish. A traditional bid, you could go through revisions. I mean, this process could take 6 to 8 months before you ever get a price to the customer, and then possibly a year before that piece of equipment's delivered. With Sourcewell, a price is given, a PO is cut by the customer, and machines en route. So you reduce, a year process to a couple months.
We have a service contract on all of our equipment through McClung Logan. Everything we buy, we get a 3 to 5 year service contract, and the warranties on these are good to begin with. I like McClung, and I've built a great relationship with Nick. I can call him anytime. He always answers. He always gets whatever I need. If he can't get it, he'll find out the answer.
During the delivery of the L25 and EC25, we had personnel from Volvo and personnel from McClung Logan come together on Capitol Park shop, and we were able to demonstrate, walk around, operator training with both Volvo and McClung Logan.
Volvo makes a very high quality piece of equipment. I have experience with Volvo equipment outside of here. Actually, on my own family farm at home, we have a small Volvo wheel loader that's diesel. It's an old L20B model. And when I got into this machine, it was a natural fit for me. The machine was designed exactly the same.
If you're on the fence about purchasing the electric equipment, I think the time is now. The opportunities are there. It's not going away. This is where the future is. This is where we're headed.
Hold that thought. It's where we're headed. Let me hop over to the chat first of all. Mark Whiting, good morning, Mark, says, how was your weekend? My weekend was brilliant, thank you. First and foremost, Hamburg. What a lovely place. I've been before, but not seen it in quite such detail. Fantastic place. But far more importantly than that, Volvo. Consummate hosts. I get pretty well looked after pretty much wherever I go, but Volvo really, really do know how to treat a fella. So, yeah, we had a fantastic time on Friday at the qualifying and the practice for the RX World Championships. And then we had a fantastic evening. We went to the Elbe Philharmonie, which is a big concert theatre, most incredible looking building you're ever likely to see, right there on the waterfront in Hamburg, where my host was a Mr. Bill Law. And Bill Law, good morning, Bill. Seems like only a few hours ago we were having dinner together. He is in the chat. Thank you very much. Thank you to you and to your entire team. Bill is always great value, but... and I mean this in the nicest possible way, Bill. I met a guy while I was with Volvo, a guy called Frank Schmidt. I arrived in Germany already a believer in electric construction equipment. I left as an evangelist, and that is all down to one man and one machine. Frank Schmidt and the new Volvo L120H electric conversion wheel loader. I'll be coming back to that in the next couple of days. And the reason I want to be coming back to that is this. You might recall that I recently promised to launch a new website dedicated 100% to electric earth moving equipment. Well, all things being equal, that launch will be happening on Wednesday this week. There's already some content in place, but I really wanted to kick off the new venture with something new, something exclusive, something you can't find anywhere else. Well, after this weekend, I have just the thing. In fact, I have multiple things that you won't find anywhere else. So one way or another, Wednesday is going to be a really big day. It's going to mark the official launch of our brand new electric equipment website. Plus, it's also the day we're giving away some Kinsoffer goodies as well. And it also marks the birthday of a certain Mr. Muirhead of this parish. In advance, Gary, happy birthday. So it's going to be a big day all round. Make sure you're here or hereabouts on Wednesday. Big day ahead. Now, some of this.
Hi, I'm Alistair from Luxembourg. This is Lily, this is Fritzi, and you're watching The Breakfast Show with Mark Anthony.
Thank you very much indeed for that. I'm sorry, I'm just drinking hot lemon. Try and get the voice through the entire show. Now, a week or two ago, we brought you a film of Bobcat talking us through the process of choosing an excavator. Well, our audience enjoyed the film, and so did Bobcats, apparently. So much so, they've done another one, only this time they're looking at the selection process for mini excavators. Here we go.
Hello, I'm Mike Fitzgerald with Bobcat Company. Compact excavators are everywhere, from landscaping jobs to demolition sites to excavation projects. As more contractors experience the benefits of adding a compact excavator to their fleet, they're looking to manufacturers to deliver more features and a wide range of sizes to fit unique job site demands. With all the different sizes, options, and configurations, how do you find a machine that fits your needs? What tasks do they perform? Asking yourself these questions can help you anticipate what you will need from a machine of your own. Don't forget to think ahead. What new business opportunities could you pursue if you had a compact excavator? How might various attachments on that excavator open up new services or abilities for your company? Size is one of the most important things to consider when comparing models. Each job site demands different capabilities from a compact excavator. A larger machine can quickly dig a trench and move vast amounts of material. But if you work in confined areas like residential properties, a smaller machine may be the right choice for you. Tail swing configuration is another feature to consider. Zero tail swing and minimum tail swing machines allow more unrestricted rotation when working close to structures or against walls and fence lines. If you anticipate working in open areas and do not have space constraints, a conventional tail swing machine may be a better fit. Bobcat also offers a retractable undercarriage on select models. With the undercarriage retracted, you have access through tight entryways and fence gates. When extended to the standard position, you won't sacrifice digging and over-the-side lift capabilities. Your machine's weight is important when moving it to and from job sites. Double-check the weight limits of any vehicle and trailer you plan to use for transporting the excavator before selecting a machine size. Standard arm configurations give you maximum breakout force and lifting ability with increased digging performance. However, if you need greater reach and dig depth, equip your excavator with the long arm option. The extra reach allows you to do more work without repositioning the machine. Higher dump heights will also make loading trucks easier. The long arm option includes additional counterweight to enhance your excavator's lifting capabilities. To maximize an excavator's reach, Bobcat offers a clamp-ready, extendable arm option for select compact excavator models. This gives you the best of both worlds, power and lifting performance, combined with the ability to extend the machine's dig depth and reach when you need it. Next, consider the specific task you need a compact excavator to perform. Smaller models like the E10 and E20 can bring precision and power to confined areas. Mid-sized compact excavators provide additional digging force and lift capacity. Larger compact models like the E88 can dig through more demanding ground with powerful hydraulics and fast cycle times. At this stage of the decision-making process, pay attention to specifications like horsepower, dig depth, digging forces, and rated lift capacity. Of course, the specifications only tell you part of the story. A demonstration at your job site will give you the best indication of how a machine will work on the job and under load. Performing common tasks like digging a trench or loading material into trucks will help you make the final decision on what machine best fits your needs. With these considerations in mind, I'm confident you'll find a compact excavator with power, performance, and size that's right for your job. You can get started by browsing the full line of Bobcat compact excavators at bobcat.com or contact your local Bobcat dealer to get your job site demonstration scheduled.
So there you are. That's how you choose a mini excavator. That's how you choose a Bobcat mini excavator, more to the point. Now, let's go back to the chat. Steve Williamson, good morning, Steve. How are you doing, my friend? Zero Tail Swing, what's that? He says, chuckling to himself. Dan Cullen obviously likes the video. I think all excavators up to 15 tons should be zero tail swing or reduced tail swing, Ken Hatcher says. Makes a lot of sense in the modern day and age. I'm not seeing much mini Bobcat excavators, only the mini ones I've been on site. And I know, let me have a look. Yeah, going back a little bit further up the chat, I wonder if Bobcat will do a larger excavator. The last couple of times I've been with Bobcat in Bauma and at Conexpo, and then once again when I was over in the Czech Republic with them earlier this year, their real focus is to become the world's #1 producer of compact equipment. Not sure if that means they're going to go larger at some point. Who knows? But what I would say is they do have something of a track record recently where if they eye a market and think there is scope for it, they will acquire somebody and get a presence in it. So don't be too surprised if you end up seeing Bobcat going a wee bit larger, possibly with a badged machine. Now, we need a bit of a break so I can cough and clear my throat. So here's this. Anyone up for a scrap here on a Monday morning? Good, because those fine folks at Kobelco have just the thing. Yeah, I love scrap equipment. Also love Kobelco equipment, so perfect film for me. What about you? What did you make of the Kobelco scrap machines? Ken makes a very good point there. A handy tool with clamps on the front. Why aren't we using that in demolition, I wonder? Also impressed with the needle nose attachment on that, stripping cables and wires and that kind of thing. Perfect for the job, I would say. Now we need a spot of this.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
Now, before we move on from Kobelco, I'm going to hop back into the chat for Mr. Muirhead, 2 days away from his birthday, probably 21 again, I would imagine. And he said, have you had any more updates on the Kobelco SK1300D that's in Australia? Has it done its first shift yet? I don't know. I'm actually dropping a line to them immediately up, well, almost immediately after this show. I've got some bits and pieces I need to take care of to pick up the pieces after I've been away for a few days. But I'm dropping them a line today to find out if it has arrived safely in Gove, up near well, I say near Darwin, 24-hour drive from Darwin, but I will keep you posted on that. Hopefully we'll be getting some photographs and hopefully even better still, some video footage through in the fullness of time. Now, when I started putting today's show together, I was hoping that Nick Drew would be in the chat. As many of you know, but long before he became a blogger, vlogger, journalist, and international playboy, he had a career in the field of ice hockey. So I thought he might enjoy this.
At Caterpillar, we use sponsorships to connect with customers. This is the Edward J. Rapp Customer and Training Center in Clayton, North Carolina, where customers got to take part in an event highlighting our equipment and our partnership with the National Hockey League.
But to get to come to kind of what my Disneyland would be with heavy equipment out here for Caterpillar is just really something else.
But I was surprised by how much equipment was here. I didn't think they'd have this much here. It's just like a giant playground, basically.
Customers from all around the country took part in hockey-themed operator challenges that tested their ability to do the work.
It's cool because anybody could get out and try it. You know, my wife got on the equipment, which was really fun, but I had a lot of fun. You know, just test your skills and have a little bit of competition. There's some really skilled operators here.
These events feature great giveaways, terrific tailgating with fantastic food, and it's a good way to get in the cab, get some stick time, and check out some of our best new machines, and maybe even close a deal.
You know, we get to come down here and do what we love to do every day. We got pulled aside and we were able to go, you know, look at a piece of equipment that we're possibly going to purchase, so that helped us out a lot.
Local cat dealer Gregory Poole turned part of their dealership into the ultimate tailgating spot, with a place to meet an NHL legend, eat, play games, and listen to live music. Then it was time to hit the stands for an NHL game.
Whether it's your team or not, it's always fun to go to a hockey game. It's a full contact experience, and there's always great energy. So I think that energy's matched really well with Caterpillar. You know, the people who really support Caterpillar and love their equipment, I think have that same passion for hockey if they're fans.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I found that quite enticing. Personally, I thought those machines performed quite nicely. Hope Caterpillar didn't receive a frosty reception. If they did, customers just need to chill. Okay, I'm all out of ice-related puns. Please feel free to share your own. Now, it's time for one of these. I'm about to prove that A, these shows are not just thrown together, and there is actually some thought behind them, and that B, I'm often inspired by the last thing that I saw. So, you know how I asked about your preference of seating on a plane as part of our question of the day? We'll come back to that in a second. I'm going to revisit that subject right now. I travelled to and from Hamburg with 2 other members of the press. To pass the time, we got to talking about air travel. Now, on the way back from Germany, we were in the departure lounge together. One of the guys was sat way in the back towards the rear of the plane, while myself and the other guy were sat together in row 8. So when we saw that the guy at the rear was in boarding group 4, it seemed to make sense. The plane was boarded only through the front door, so it seemed like they were filling it from the back forwards. They were not. In fact, it was the usual free-for-all. They called group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, and then everyone else. I was in group 9, as it turns out. So I have 2 questions that might even be more than 2, actually. First of all, wouldn't it make more sense to fill the plane from the back and then work forwards? Overhead locker space with the passengers and then gradually fill it up to the front? Or better still, how about allowing all those with window seats to board first, followed by those with middle seats, finishing up with aisle seats? No more clambering over each other, no more queuing, while those already sat in the middle and aisle seats have to unfasten their belts, climb out to the aisle, and allow the window seat jockey to take his place? Or what about first come, first served systems, in which all you're allocated is a row? If you arrive first, you sit by the window. Arrive second, you're in the middle. Arrive third, you get the aisle. Surely there's got to be a better way. Anyway, that's my gripe of the day. I'd love to hear yours. What is it that grinds your gears, gets your goat, and generally butters your proverbial parsnips? Let me know in the chat. The daily gripe therapy session will return soon, probably tomorrow, I would imagine. Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around for that, then please stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Excuse me. But if you do have the time and the inclination, please stick around, because the crack will begin immediately after this final word from our key show sponsor. Good day all, and isn't it mighty fine to be back? I know I only missed a day, but yeah, you know. Right, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the chat because lots to get through today. Dan Cullen was the first off the mark this morning. Good morning, Dan. Hope you're fit and well, my friend. How was your weekend? Mine was great. Really was. I had all day Friday and all day Saturday. Excuse me. Yeah, all day Friday and all day Saturday with Volvo. And as I said earlier, consummate hosts. They looked after us very well. But not only did they look after us well, they showed us some fantastic motorsport. We got into the paddock, we got to meet the drivers and all of the things, all of which was fantastic. And then they just happened to slip into conversation. Oh, just over there is a Volvo L128 wheel loader, electric, a 20-ton electric wheel loader. As you will see when we launch our new electric machine website on Wednesday this week, shot down my argument in flames. That the concept that electric machines would probably go up to about 8, maybe 10 tons, and that hydrogen would take over after that. And a lot of that, as I said, met a guy called Frank Schmidt, been with Volvo for about 30 odd years, which says an awful lot about Volvo, I think. But he's been with Volvo for about 30 odd years, and virtually every fear, concern that I expressed about electric machines, battery life, battery charging times, and battery disposal, he had an answer for all of it, and every single one of those answers made 100% sense. And I don't want to give the game away because I've already written an article about this. It's going to be part of the launch of the new website. But you know that thing that we always say whenever we get to this point where we're talking about electric machines, what happens to the batteries when they reach the end of their useful life? Here's the answer. You take them out and you use them for something else. Because the way that those battery packs are made, the way that they are managed using technology and that kind of thing, once they've deteriorated to the point where they're not useful for a machine application, you can use them as a battery pack to charge other things, but you can also put one in your house. If you've got solar panels, you can use those battery packs to store that energy. Those batteries are not going anywhere anytime soon. And according to Frank, they're good for a good 2 lives, possibly more. Shooting down in flames my contention that batteries are will deteriorate and would need disposal. he had so much good stuff to tell me, and I, honestly, I've written the article in question with my tongue very firmly in my cheek, but it was like going to school and being told all those things that you thought you're wrong. You're really wrong. And I say that as somebody that I went to Germany as a believer in electric machines. I've come back a full-blown evangelist, and a lot of that is down to Frank Schmidt and to the L120H. Looking forward to showing you all of that. Next off the mark, it's Gary Muirhead. Morning, Gary. Hope you're fitting well, my friend. Who else have we got here? I will be mentioning more about Gary later in the week because it's his birthday coming up. Dan Cullen, hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I as I say, had a fantastic time with the fine folks at Volvo. Landed just in time to get home and see the Lionesses fall at the last, but do themselves and the nation proud. And then I was here to see West Ham turn over Chelsea. I've had good weekends in the past. This was right up there with some of the best. Tristan Mays is here as well. Morning, Mark, the high flyer. Yes, you know what happens when you fly too high, right? Morning, Tristan. I tell you what, I know you're off to sunnier climes in the not too distant future, Tristan. But I tell you this, Hamburg, Crane Central. Crawler cranes, tower cranes, harbour cranes, container cranes, cranes of every size, shape and colour. Cranes as far as the eye could see. Bored I was, but the plant made up for it. Ken Hatcher is here as well. Got sun, and then maybe not. Glenn Johnston, morning Glenn. How are you, my friend? Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Always good to see you in the chat. Steve Williamson is here as well, and I'm going to come back to Steve in just a second. But good morning, Steve. There was my question of the day. Do you prefer a window seat or an aisle seat? I'm a window man all the way, and when I come back to Steve Williamson in just a second, I'll tell you why, because we are of one mind. Dan Cullen says, new intro looks fantastic. No, I don't know what you were watching, but no, the intro has been the same since we did our 500th show, and this is 561. So we've done 61 shows with that intro. Have you missed it all those times? I can't believe that's the case. Ken Hatcher, question of the day, says window seat all the way. And Steve Williamson, likewise, says window seat always, unless the wife wants it, always a gentleman. Wow, goes without saying, obviously. I actually got to see some amazing sights flying to Las Vegas. If ever you get the chance, well, if you ever get the chance to fly to Las Vegas, do so. It's brilliant. But if you get a chance to arrive in Las Vegas at night, oh my Lord. So, and I hope I've got my deserts right. So I've sometimes flown out of LA to get to Vegas, and you fly over the Mojave Desert. I'm fairly sure it's the Mojave Desert. So for about 45, maybe 50 minutes, you look down on the ground and it is black. There is not a pinprick of light anywhere to be seen. And then the plane kind of banks around and whoosh, that the whole of the sky is lit up by the neon from Volvo. From Volvo? Well, yeah, from Volvo, but from Las Vegas. Las Vegas just lights up the entire sky. It is an astonishing sight. And I mean, as I say, I've been to Vegas now probably, I don't know, a dozen times or something like that, I would guess. Never gambled a cent, not interested in gambling in one shape or form. But to go to Las Vegas and see that, it's worth doing. If ever you get the chance, please, you have my personal recommendation. Glenn Johnston is an aisle seat. Are you a long-legged gentleman, Glenn? That tends to be the reason that most people like the aisle. Mark Whiting's here as well. Morning, Mark. Good of you to join us. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Dan Cullen, contrary as always. Question of the day, neither. You will never see me on a plane. Each to their own. I have to admit, having done a lot of plane travel this year, I have to say the shine has very much gone off air travel. Post 9/11, I used to look forward to flying, even though I sleep through most plane journeys. Always look forward to it, you know, the excitement, the anticipation, and everything else. But it is actually a bit of a chore now. what lurks at the other end of the journey makes it worthwhile. Like my trip to Hamburg this weekend. And again, I've recommended Vegas. I'm going to recommend Hamburg. Beautiful place. But yeah, the actual plane journey itself, not a great bundle of laughs. Question of the day. Gary Muirhead, he's not going aisle, window, or middle. He says he would like to be sat at the back of the plane. Oh, excuse me, because you never see a plane reversing into a mountain. Very true. Mark Whiting, how was your weekend? One of the best in memory. Yeah, really that good. Really that good. You know when you look back at something you've just done, which I'm currently doing, and I'm writing about my trip to Volvo. Excuse me. You look back and all of it was such good fun. I was talking with a couple of members of the press while I was in Hamburg. There are some manufacturers out there, and I won't name names, but there are some manufacturers out there that really, really want their pound of flesh. And it is a case of you arrive now and you do this, and then you do that, and then you do this, and then you do that, and everything is completely regimented. Volvo, here's a racetrack, here's our racing team, here's some new equipment. Please, everybody, enjoy yourselves. I'll tell you which one I prefer. It's the Volvo approach. And I said this to one of the guys I was with when I was up in Eskilstuna. Again, I go to manufacturers on a fairly regular basis. And in a lot of cases, it's you are shown a thing and then shown another thing and you're almost treated like cattle. You just pass from place to place to place. Not Volvo. Volvo and Eskilstuna. Here is virtually everything we make. Go and enjoy yourselves. Would you like to drive a 100-ton dump truck? Yes, please. There's the key. Go and enjoy yourself. Please, everybody, manufacturers, take heed. Do it the Volvo way. I think electric is right for some customers. Right. So, electric machine. I want to do more of this on the electric website. There's two things I'm going to say about electric machines. The first, and I'm going to agree with Ken Hatcher there. It is right for some customers. It's not going to be right for everybody. It's not going to be right for every application. However, the first point I want to make is that it's going to open up new possibilities. Imagine those applications where you genuinely cannot currently work, like a live hospital, like a tunnel, like in an urban environment where noise would be an issue. All of that just goes away. So all of a sudden you could work round the clock. You could work in a live hospital, you could work in a tunnel without any problems whatsoever, because electric has no emissions, sound, vibration, and all the things. That's one thing. I think the other thing as well is once people start to get used to the idea, I think there will be a snowball effect, and I think that snowball effect is very, very close indeed. I think there's been a lot of people sitting back and pondering, and I don't think we've helped ourselves in the fact that we've got a situation at the moment where we are potentially looking at a dual fuel. Will we be electric? Will we be hydrogen? Where will one begin? Where will the other one end? And so on down the line. I think it's queered the pitch somewhat. But again, I'm going to go back to Frank Schmidt, and I was asking about hydrogen machines. And Volvo are working on hydrogen fuel cells. They make no secret of the fact. But he did make a very good point. Now, bearing in mind, we always throw into this conversation concerns over the availability of electricity, given the fact that some countries, ours included, are at the very limit of the national grid. We're at capacity. How are we going to fuel all these machines? Think about this. All those people that are advocating for hydrogen. To create hydrogen, you need a lot, and I do mean a lot of energy. What type of energy do you need? You need electricity. So all those people that are sat on the fence thinking, actually, the grid is at capacity, hydrogen would be a better option. It won't. It will actually put a bigger strain on the grid. So, lots to think about, lots to discuss. We'll be doing that over on the new website, which I'll be showing you very soon. Bill Law. I have to say, and I don't know if Bill's still in the chat, but imagine working for a company where you can basically leave your team to just interact with people and know full well that they will do so properly. So there were, off the top of my head, probably 20, maybe even 30 representatives of the Volvo brand from one sphere or another. And there was no formalised press conferences, there were no press releases, there were no death by PowerPoint. It was, here's our people, you people, mix with our people, see what comes of it. I've had no demands from Volvo for seeing the copy. They've made no demands on the video that I've produced. Nothing whatsoever, just completely relaxed. It comes from a faith in the ability of the team there, and that faith is well placed. But I think it comes from leadership. I had dinner with, I'm not saying we had dinner with Bill Law and his team on the Friday night. We did talk about business, but by and large, we didn't. We just had a chat because we're all people. Fantastic. Honestly, I know I'm probably sounding like a member of the Volvo fan club. I am. It was great. Just a really... I'll tell you the biggest compliment I can pay them. Bearing in mind I had to give up my Friday night, the whole of my Saturday, and I had to be up at 4 o'clock on a Sunday morning to get myself back home again. I don't resent a bit of it because I had fun. So thank you to the team at Volvo and to Bill himself. Steve Williamson, the way forward for that size of machine. I'm not sure which one that was. Let me think. Yes, electric wheel loaders, I think that was. Again, in my head, an electric wheel loader was compact. The L120H, 20 tons. It's a big old boy, and it's all electric, and it's an electric conversion. I'll tell you more about that in the fullness of time. But imagine that. Imagine you operate a quarry, or more specifically, I think, imagine you operate a waste transfer station or a recycling yard, and you've decided actually we could really do with going all electric for the sustainability concept. But we're stuck. We've actually got a machine at the moment, and that's got another 2-3 years to run. Not a problem. The power pack that has been developed jointly between Volvo and Parker, it's a retrofit. You can hoik out, I'm making this sound very easy, you can hoik out the diesel power pack and you can slot in an electric power pack. It's a little more complicated than that because we are talking about some pretty big lumps of metal here, but it is a retrofittable. Yes. Good morning, all bros, says Footy Williams. Good morning to you. Graham, thank you very much indeed for being here. Let's have a look. Jim Turner's in the house. Morning, Jim. Steve Williamson, lucky man, Mark. Would love to do more with Volvo, especially as that's all I drive. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. And listen, I mean, given your growing profile, maybe it's only a matter of time before they actually reach out to you and say, come and do a thing with us. The one thing I will say, the event that I went to was at Estering, which is about an hour outside of Hamburg, but they actually have another event at Liddon Hill here in the UK. I think it's in Kent or thereabouts. For one reason or another, it wasn't the most successful this year, but my guess is they will probably be at Liddon Hill next year. So there is an opportunity to get along and see the electric cars, but probably the electric machines as well. I realise Kent is not exactly on your doorstep, Steve, but watch this space. You never know. Something may be coming of that. We played Al Grierson saying good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Show. For those of you who don't know what Steve is talking about there, I tried to get Ed and Steve to say I'm Ed, I'm Steve, and welcome to the Breakfast Show while we were at Con Expo. I think after we got to about take 47, both Ed, Steve, myself and Fred, who was filming it, basically gave up. The two of them are fantastic behind the levers, produce some awesome content. Man alive, getting them to say their own names into a camera, it was like I'd asked them to perform calculus or something, but they were good fun anyway. I wonder if Bobcat will go to a larger excavator. Again, I said that earlier in the show. They are quite an acquisitive company. If you think about their presence in the telehandler market, I think they were with FI for a little while. That didn't work out, so they then did a venture with Manu, and they now have a full suite of telescopic handlers. So if they decide that there is scope for an 8, 9, 10, 12 ton excavator, it's not beyond the wit of man for Bobcat to go and acquire or do a joint venture with somebody. So watch this space. Chris Ford says, good morning, better late than never. My motto in life, better late than never. Dan Cullen thoroughly enjoyed the Bobcat video, so did I. It's an interesting point. I think all excavators up to 15 tons should be 0 tail swing or reduced tail swing. And trust me, I am not anti-hydrogen. I can't be anti-hydrogen because, let's be absolutely honest, it doesn't exist at the moment. Yes, we've seen prototype machines from JCB, from Hyundai, from Liebherr. I realise all of that, but they don't exist. You can't pop out this afternoon and buy yourself a hydrogen-fueled machine, and we don't have the infrastructure to run them. So I am not anti-hydrogen. I am just waiting to be proven right or wrong or somewhere between the two. But the one thing that all the hydrogen machines I've seen so far, with the notable exception of JCB, who are going hydrogen combustion, is the fact that they all have a bit of a hump on their back, because hydrogen fuel cells take up a lot of space. Does that mean that will we have to forego reduced and even 0 tail swing to accommodate hydrogen? I don't know the answer to that. I'm throwing that into the mix. See what you all think. Let's have a look. Dan Cullen says, I was an 8-tonner a few weeks ago. Grand mini machine. That was a Bobcat, I assume. Yep. Have you had any more updates on the Kobelco SK1300D that's in Australia? Has it done its first shift yet? I don't know, but as soon as I know, you will know. That's the plan. The deal that I've done with Kobelco is that I featured it on the fact that it's been sold. The next feature is the fact that it's arrived, and the third bit and the final bit is it's now at work doing its thing. I've done one, I'm just waiting for 2 and 3 to arrive, so I'm going to be chasing those up today, and I will keep you posted. Let's have a look. Graham says, I've got a friend, 7'4" and a 7'4" and a quarter tall, has problems trying to get in a plane, also takes a size 22 shoe. Guy needs a plane to himself. I think that's the answer. His nickname is Pockets. That's the first thing you see in front of your face. I don't know if anybody else is aware of this, but there is an Aussie podcast / radio show where they actually have people phoning in with nicknames of people that they've worked with or they grew up with or whatever it might be. And it's all available on Instagram, it's available on TikTok, I'm sure, and there are some fantastic ones. There really are. My personal favourite, there were 2 on the same theme. There was one guy who apparently had a very large head, and he was known as the Sniper's Dream. And there was another one who was had one leg considerably shorter than the other, so walked like that, and he was known as the Sniper's Nightmare. Yeah, go look it up. It's very, very good. Question of the day, window for me. An aisle seat means people knocking me on their way past, and I find it very aggravating. That is more or less my point. And as I say, I'm a past master at bladder management. Even somewhere like New York, where you're talking 5 or 6 hours, possibly even more, I can sit myself by the window and know full well that I won't have to disturb anyone, which is particularly annoying if you find yourself on an aisle seat and if you're like me, you've got on a plane and you thought, I can get 5 hours sleep here, that'll be fantastic. You've got somebody nudging you in the ribs saying, I need to go to the loo. So yes, I am a window seat all the way. Remotely generated electricity for hydrogen production. But think about this, and I have to say I haven't really thought about this, and I'm not including hydrogen combustion here. But when you're talking hydrogen fuel cell, what you're actually doing is you are using electricity to produce hydrogen, and then using that hydrogen to produce electricity. Does that make any sense at all? Let's have a look. Had a great day at the Flint Open Day on the 3CX. Yeah, I saw some of your photographs, Dan. I was at the airport when I was looking at those. I'm sure you had a fantastic time. Finally got a JCB cap as well. Well done, that man. Mick Norton's in the house. Hydrogen fuel cells can be incorporated into the machine counterweight. Are there no concerns about puncturing? I don't know the answer to that. I'm just throwing that out there. And again, you know that thing that people say about it's in the article. You can read it there. But you know, every time I mention electric machines, somebody mentions the term thermal runaway. Have a look at the article when it drops on Wednesday. You'll be surprised at how much that is not a major concern. Let's have a look. Met a fantastic JCB girl, Georgina Williams, on Saturday as well. Great chat with her too. Fantastic. I didn't ask you well. Would have loved to have been there, but given the choice between, I think I was down in Essex or Hamburg, I'm Hamburg all the way. Awesome place. And that, you'll see it in the film. We had dinner in the Elbe Film Harmony, which is the concert venue right on the waterfront. An astonishing building. I'll show you. It's in the video. An astonishing building. The food was fantastic. The conversation even better still. It's one of those times where I'll tell you how good it was. We went for dinner after it got dark. So the following day, I actually got back to the hotel while it was still light out, and I walked about half an hour to go back to it just so that I could get some film and photograph of it, because it's one of those where you look at it and you think I'm here, and you kind of pinch yourself because it's so fantastic. If you want solar panels, look at the Sunflower solar panels. That's the way to go. Is that a brand? I don't know on that. Great to hear you had a fantastic time. I will be babbling on about my trip to Hamburg for quite some time yet, as you will probably gather. So be prepared for that. So a couple of very quick things, and I've already said them both. On Wednesday, obviously, we've got the Kins Offer show at 7 p.m. in the evening, where we're giving away a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm going from here to the post office. I'm going to pick up some boxes so that we've got boxes of first, second, and third place prizes already. They will be bound. All I need to do is put an address label on, and they will be out the door. The rest I will make up as I go along. So we've got that. We've got the big giveaway on Wednesday evening. We're also launching the new website on Wednesday morning, which is all electric and stuff. And yeah, I'm going to possibly buy myself a muffin and put a single candle in it to mark the birthday of one Mr. Gary Muirhead. So Wednesday, big deal all around. So be here tomorrow, obviously. But if you have to see just one show, Wednesday's the day. Going to be a good one. That's going to do us, everybody. While my voice is still holding up, I could do with a damn good cough. So how about we call it a day now? We're almost at the hour mark. I'll be back here tomorrow, hopefully with a voice that sounds less Barry White. Mick Norton says, when your source of power for your 360-degree electric excavator is, say, Drax Power Station, you soon realise the impossibility of net zero by 2036. Interestingly, Volvo have committed to being emissions-free, their products to be emissions-free by 2040, which in itself is ambitious, bearing in mind the age of the Volvo company and its Volvo BM days and the Monk-Tel, bearing in mind generations, best part of a century, possibly even more, reliance upon diesel. They are planning to be emissions-free by 2040. Which, as I say, is ambitious. They're not done there. On the basis that their equipment lasts for about 10 years, depending on application and use case and care given by the customer, There is every possibility that that machine could last for 10 years, and therefore Volvo are actually, we will be emissions free by 2040, but we need to reverse engineer that to make sure that we are doing away with the final of our emissions by 2030, 7 years from now. So the fact that they've got a 20-ton wheel loader, all electric or electric conversion, that is just the beginning. It's not the beginning, that's not true at all. They've already got a full range of compact equipment, wheel loaders, mini excavators, and a whole other bunch of stuff. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. You can expect an absolute deluge of electric machines and probably hydrogen machines from Volvo and all the other manufacturers as well, because I'm sure Volvo will not be unique in its ambitions to be zero emission by 2040 or whenever they all decide to do it. Right, people, I can sense the voice is just about to pack up, so go and have a fantastic day. I shall see you tomorrow. Until then, have a fantastic day. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all your input. I'll go away and think of another question of the day for tomorrow that isn't inspired by something I did a few hours ago. See you soon. All the best.